Welcome back to the Eric Zane Show podcast. On Mondays, of course, I have a workplace staff meeting. Thought I was going to get my ass chewed out. Friday, it's a big station event. And a couple weeks ago, I said, hey, I'll be in town because I got to clear up Fear Bunker North. They said, oh, yeah. So you can do your show from the radio station Friday. I go, yeah, that's the plan. And you can attend the station event. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah. Now, the reason why that's an issue isn't because it's not because I don't want to go. I do want to go. But it's an hour from Fear Bunker North. From where I'm at to Cadillac, Michigan is an hour. And I got my dogs. And I don't like to leave the dogs alone for that long. However, I got into the meeting. And after I'd already said, I'm going to go. I said, hey, I don't know if I can make it. Now, I'd already said that I was going to go. And I guess that's it, you know. And because boss lady says, well, you already said you were going to go. I go, yeah, I know. I've just rethought it. Well, maybe you can just go for like a couple hours. And then I'm like, okay, she really wants me to go. And I go, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be there. Again, it's not because I don't want to go, but I'm kind of a pushover when it comes to that. You know, I don't want to rock the boat. At least not too much. Linda is here. She says, hello. I'm not in a meeting. So exciting. Her new job. She's really happy with her new job, by the way. It's a lot of great things like meetings and other things that people like micromanaging. And I probably shouldn't say anything more than that. I think I'm creating my own wormhole. I think I'm creating my own wormhole. Pizza. 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 Wormhole. Pizza. Pizza. Wormhole. Pizza. Wormhole. Pizza. Wormhole. Pizza. Wormhole. Pizza. Pizza. Wormhole. Pizza. Wormhole. Pizza. Linda says, and a snake for a boss. Linda says, pizza for a boss. Pizza. Pizza for a boss. Pizza. All right. I don't know why, but as we start act number 2, I don't know if everybody's like, oh, I see he's back and just not saying anything. But in my head, I'm like, there's no one watching because Linda is the only person that has made a comment. So if you're here, let's do like the roll call. Are you here? At the very least, you've got to make a comment about how fantastic my hair looks. Hello to you, Stevie. Jeremy says, I'm not here. Alan says, hey, Zane. Young Adam Schwab says, I'm here. Branjo says, hey, what up? Thank you. I appreciate that. Kuipers is here. Kuipers bought the guitar. The guitar was set for $100, and I sold it to him for $80 because he's Kevin Kuipers. I sold it to, I made it $90 with the strap. Let's make it $85, Kevin. The strap's not worth $10. Let's give it to you for $85. You get the guitar and the strap for $85. The first thing you do is get those old strings off and get new strings on. Do you know how to string a guitar? And do you know how to tune a guitar? These are keys. If you don't know how to string or tune a guitar, I mean, come on now. And don't like cut the strings off with wire cutters. Just you actually turn the nuts and remove them appropriately. Bob says, EZ, you should hear Kelly's What Have We Learned Today with her trying to say Uncle Cracker. It was glorious. She had to have said Uncle Cracker. Kuiper says, no idea how to string, but a guy at work will tune it for me. Yeah, have him string it too. Nick is here. He says they make a guitar string cutter. It's the fastest, not fattest. All right. Where did I want to start on this second half of the show? The breaking news of the day is J.D. Vance killed the Pope. I woke up today to find out that Pope Francis had died. And I thought that he had turned the corner, like he had some type of illness or pneumonia or something like that. And he was strong enough to see J.D. Vance just yesterday. And J.D. Vance, I don't know if you know this, he became a Catholic in 2019. He converted to Catholicism. So you know that he's, if you're that much a recent convert to Catholicism, you know he's doing all the shit. You know he's at the Easter Vigil Mass, the 3.5 hour Super Bowl Mass, doing the litany of saints. But yeah, I mean, J.D. Vance shows up and meets the Pope. Next thing you know, the angel of death leaves, and the Pope is dead. Here Vance is sitting in front of the Pope. Now, I don't know if I would be comfortable in sitting in front of the Pope if I'm J.D. Vance, because the Pope has chastised Vance and Trump and the administration about immigration. He's not happy with him, you know, and I don't know if the Pope used this as an opportunity to chastise him to his face or what, but if I'm J.D. Vance, I don't go near the Pope. I don't want to see the leader of the... If you just recently, a handful of years ago, convert to Catholicism, and here you are sitting next to the big kahuna, and you're one of the guys that's spearheading the effort to kick all the Mexicans out of America, the last person you want to be in front of is the Pope. I mean, I wouldn't say publicly, fuck that guy, but I would if I had an like if the Pope said, hey, J.D. Vance, come visit me. Oh, fuck. I would say my flight, the plane broke down or something. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be in front of him. You know, you're basically going against the pontiff there. And I don't, you know, I want it to be like that scene in the Blues Brothers. Like when Jake and Elwood go back to see the nun. And she's worried because, come here, boys, come closer. I want to see your faces. And Jake and Elle would get in front of the penguin. And they didn't want to go see her anyway, but Elwood said, you promised you'd go see the penguin as soon as you got out of the joint. So they go see the penguin. Penguin is like, boys, I want to see your faces. They're going to close me down. The assessor's office said that I need a certain amount of money to keep the orphanage open. And Jake says, 10 grand, we'll have it for you tomorrow. Come on, Elwood. And she knows that they're going to go knock over the liquor store. He says, no, I will not take your filthy stolen money. Do not come back until you have redeemed yourself. And then, you know, off they go on the mission from God, raise the money, give it to the orphanage. They wind up back in prison, and it's all's well that ends well. That's, if I'm J.D. Vance, I'm thinking that scene. God, I hope that some of you have at least seen that fucking movie. Stand by. To know what I'm talking about. But if I am single-handedly exiling all of the Mexicans, and by the way, Trump's changes on immigration have slowed people crossing into the United States to it's almost non-existent. No one is getting across. So, all right, I think that's what a lot of people who voted for Trump wanted. Say what you will about Trump. He's a psychopath and piece of shit. We all know that. But he did say that he was going to deport more than anybody, and he was going to make it so that people cannot get into the country illegally. And he is exactly doing that. He's even grabbing people that just look like they don't belong here. Like that guy in Maryland. The guy in Maryland is not like in a gang, but they grabbed that guy and they said, you're going to El Salvador to that prison, and with like no due process. So they take that guy there, and then everyone's like, oh my God, we got to get him out. And then all of a sudden I start seeing in the news, oh yeah, he's a member of MS-13. So that's probably not true. Stand by. It's probably not true. He's probably like wonderful, like Joe Martinez is. We all know that. But all the Mexicans are getting wiped out. And none of them are allowed in, and we're kicking all of them out, and we're not even sending them back to the countries that they should go to. So you got a guy who they pick up Maryland dude, and he like owns a business, and he's lived here for a long, long time. He did enter illegally, but what the fuck? And they said, no, you are a terrorist. You're going to be into the prison with the gang members. So that's the way it is. Holy fuck. If I'm a Mexican living in the U.S. illegally right now, I'm going to go back to Mexico on my own so that I don't get picked up and sent to that fucking prison, that crazy, insano prison. It was 4 whole fried chickens and a Coke. They look like Hasidic diamond merchants. Jake, Elwood, shit, the Blues Brothers. We're getting the band back together. Without your 4 whole fried chickens, without your dry white toast, and without Mac Guitar Murphy. Shut up, woman. I'll make the decisions regarding my life. You better think about your actions. You better think. Think about what you're trying to do to me. You better think. I know that movie better than anybody. Anybody alive. Molly says the Pope was poisoned. Oh, it's even worse than that. He just had to be in front of J.D. Vance. Okay? And then Jesus was like, you had the opportunity to get J.D. Vance in a rear naked choke. And you just kissed his ass. If you're going to be the Pope who ostracizes and attacks the administration for their anti-immigration, and then you finally get the number 2 in front of you, and you don't stick your foot up his ass, that's a bad deal. How come that didn't happen when J.D. Vance met the Pope? The Pope received Vance in one of the reception rooms of the Vatican Hotel where he lives. Stand by. The 88-year-old Pope offered the vice president 3 big chocolate Easter eggs for Vance's 3 young kids who did not attend, as well as a Vatican tie and rosaries. So he basically the Pope raided the Vatican gift shop. And he stuffed his robe full of these trinkets and whatnot, gave him a tie, rosaries, and 3 chocolate eggs. Quote, I know you have not been feeling great, but it's good to see you in better health, Vance told the Pope. Thank you for seeing me. Vance's motorcade entered Vatican City through a side gate while Easter Mass was being celebrated in St. Peter's Square. The Pope delegated the celebration of the Mass to another cardinal. So basically, J.D. Vance kept 25,000 people expecting the Pope for Mass, his last Mass. He kept that from happening. Vance's office said they met, but provided no further details. Vance's motorcade was on Vatican territory for 17 minutes. He later joined his family for Easter Mass at St. Paul outside the walls, one of the 4 pontifical basilicas in Rome. The Vances visited the tomb of the Apostle St. Paul that is said to be located there. Vance has acknowledged Pope Francis's criticism. Just days before he was hospitalized in February, Francis blasted the deportation plans, warning that they would deprive migrants of their inherent dignity. In a letter to U.S. bishops, Francis also appeared to respond to Vance directly for having claimed that Catholic doctrine justified such policies. So that's ugly right there. He's basically saying, fuck you, J.D. Vance. Do not claim that Catholic doctrine justifies what you are doing. I don't even know why Francis even wanted to see him, unless if he actually wanted to kick his ass. So 17 minutes, we don't know what happened. It's a secret. I can only assume they went ahead and gathered up all of the priests that are there that have a propensity to molest people. And in those 17 minutes, they tied down J.D. Vance, and the Pope teabagged him as punishment. Now, this is an unsubstantiated claim made by me. In fact, I don't think anyone has suggested this bit of nonsense, but I don't know how far-fetched it is. The Pope himself singled out J.D. Vance, who, you get that when you have a fresh-faced Catholic. You get somebody who's a brand shiny new Catholic, and they're going to be super Catholic. Okay? They're going to be going to confession. They're going to be acting like they're without sin. They're going to be talking about all the various things that are super Catholic that even the most staunch of Catholics are like, wow, he's really fucking Catholic. So for an opportunity for J.D. Vance to be in front of, the top dog on earth, he probably thought he was hot shit. And I am suggesting to you and you only that Francis invited him and then beat the hillbilly shit out of Vance, only to have it break badly at the end. And now the Pope is dead. This is a goddamn John Grisham book. Okay? Or what's the name of that guy? He writes all those books. He wrote that book that was about the antimatter and CERN, and Tom Hanks starred the guy in the film adaptation of Witches and Warlocks. Dan Brown is the author. God damn it. What was the name of that? The Rosetta Stone. No. The Da Vinci Code. That's it. This is on that level. You got to have Dan Brown now write the story about what really went on, and we could call the book 17 Minutes of Horror. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but think about that. Does this not ring like a fantastic book? A taking real life and adding your own spin on it. I mean, I would say 99.5% of what I'm saying probably actually happened. That'd be an outstanding a sequence that we could read about later. Alan's thinking the same thing. Perhaps they played priest in the altar boy. Perhaps J.D. Vance was raped. I don't know. You get some of those priests from countries like Senegal and Somalia with a huge BBC, and get them in the chambers with J.D. Vance. He was uncontrollably raped, and ultimately, the Secret Service filled those priests full of lead. That area where the meeting took place, they're probably still scrubbing the walls with Service Master in there to clean up all the bloodshed and brain matter. J.D. Vance barely got out of there with his fucking life. And now the fucking Pope's dead. And all those people, all those priests with hard-ons, they're all dead. They had to lay waste to them. It's too convenient, okay? You can't just have the Pope dying. You got to quit dismissing these great thoughts. Man Bun Chris says, this is why we listen to the Eric Zane Show podcast, for our news and not the other smaller news outlets. Yes, this is bigger. I can't even control the Big Fraud News Network these days. The mainstream news gets their news from EZ. You 29 beat writers that are enjoying this show right now, it's up to you to put this news out there after I lay these outlandishly wild but true claims about what happened to J.D. Vance and the Pope. All right. It's true about those types of Catholics, those ones that are converts. You got to look out for them. They haven't yet become lazy Catholics. Okay? There was a time in my Catholicism when I was anything but a lazy Catholic. Now, I'm a cradle Catholic. I was never a shiny new baby Catholic. But there was a period of time when, I don't know why, but the Catholicism in me took off like a bat out of fucking hell. So I'm like intensely tithing. I'm volunteering everything. I joined the Knights of Columbus. Confession before every Mass. And I was as Catholic as could be. I would hold vigil during Lent over at the sacristy, which is where the body and blood of Christ is, where during Lent it cannot be unguarded. There had to be a human guarding it during all hours of the day and night. And I'd be taking regular shifts, and you just sit in the sacristy and pray for like 3 hours. And then as Madison's gayness took over, I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do now? And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to have to let this go and just no longer be associated with the church. Actually, COVID took over, and then I stopped going to Mass because of COVID, and then that kind of segued into Madison's gayness. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute here. You were okay with homosexuality being a sin when you were super Catholic. What are you going to do now? And I was like, well, no, now it's not a sin to me. Well, that's a huge discrepancy. Something's got to go. I'm either going to have to hate my daughter for the rest of her life and hate all gays, or disavow the Catholic Church. So I chose to disavow the Catholic Church. It wasn't really close. I didn't have to really think about it too long. It was a rather quick decision. So then now I became super gay. And that's where I am right now. So the thing about the Pope is, this Pope who now is dead, he tried to be the one to have his cake and eat it too with the gays. Okay? For the longest time, the church was like, we cannot support sin. We do not support same-sex marriage. We do not offer blessings to the gays. We do not support any sin whatsoever. This Pope, even though later on in his career there was a couple of hot mic moments, I swear to God, where things that he said kind of contradicted what he was saying outwardly, which kind of was raising an eyebrow about how accepting he was of gay people. Excuse me. David writes, did COVID make Maddie gay? I don't think so. I think it just happened. I never really got to the bottom of what made her gay. Anyway, this Pope, back in 2023, he published a declaration titled in Latin as Fiducia Supplicans on the pastoral meaning of the term blessings. This allowed church leaders to bless. Like if a couple of gays come walking into the parish and they say, hey, Father Mulaney, can you bless us as a couple? After the Pope made this declaration, he would say, yes, I can bless you and your union. I love you. You are blessed. Now, I guess that's different than like actually having a gay wedding, because they won't honor a gay wedding. This was a major departure for the Vatican. 2 years earlier, the Vatican had said God cannot bless sin in a controversial 2021 decision about same-sex couples. Monday's document, this was way back in 23, though, December of 23, like I said, this was actually approved by the Pope. However, this is what I mean about having your cake and eating it too. The Vatican said, however, only a dude and a chick can get married, and any priest granting a blessing to a same-sex couple must avoid any form of confusion or scandal that could suggest otherwise. So what they're saying is you have to say, I bless you, but you are not married in the church. Who the fuck's going to want that? You know, if you're a gay couple, and I think that they realized that. That's why they did it. That's their way of saying, hey, why? We're open to the gays. We love the gays. Come on in, but don't get too close. So to me, it's bullshit. That was all bullshit. To me, that made it worse. All right? To me, that's them trying to say, yeah, we're trying to sanitize our anti-gay stance is what we're trying to do here. And it's, okay, what they're hoping is that people that are like me, who for a period of time were on the fence, would then go, yeah, you're right, and then continue to go to Mass and give money and support the church. In my opinion, that's what they were trying to do, which is actually more insulting, in my opinion. But for whatever reason, they did that. I would want it to be that the church would actually take a harder stance. If you don't pussyfoot around, I would have more respect for them if they said, the new doctrine is fuck gays. Fuck off gays. Fuck this Ogeus is what we are calling it, rather than this horse shit. 87-year-old Francis at the time had made liberalization toward LGBTQ Catholics as hallmark of his papacy. He became Pope in 2013. He urged the decriminalization of homosexuality. When asked in 2013 about gay priests, the Pope said, if someone is gay and he searches for the Lord and has goodwill, who am I to judge? So that's a great thing to say. You're leaving the door open there. And that had some people going, oh, wow, he loves us gays. But in fact, it's no. There's nothing changed. It's just, it's putting lipstick on a pig is what that is. Any moron who was fooled into thinking that Catholics are somehow more accepting of gays is a fucking idiot. All right? Only a dumb shit would believe that. All right, let me see if there's any. Now, this is, like I said, this is an article from 2 years ago, or a year and 3 months ago, 4 months ago. In this document, the Vatican drew a distinction between what it described as ritual and liturgical blessings and those that are informal and those that are more informal and spontaneous. So I guess if you catch the Pope or the priest while he's watching Monday Night Football and get him to throw you a couple blessings your way, then you were good to go. The declaration remains firm on the traditional doctrine of the church about marriage, not allowing any type of liturgical rite or blessing similar to a liturgical rite that can create confusion. So I guess people believed what they wanted to believe. But at the end of the day, the Pope was harsh about the immigration issues in the United States and the hard and fast stance by the Trump administration. J.D. Vance arrives, 17 minutes passes. We don't know if J.D. Vance was actually raped. He may have been by several priests from Southern Africa and Western Africa. And then he left. And the next thing you know, the Pope is dead. Now begins this process to bring a new priest or a new pope in, and you know they pick from a handful of potential candidates who are cardinals in the church. They've worked their way up, and they have access to the Vatican. I don't think we have ever had an American pope. I don't know that we ever will. Some folks really get into this process. Hold on, Pooh Bear texted me. She asked me how I was feeling and did I do my podcast, and obviously I am. I don't recall a lot about this podcast. I think it centers around bringing in the church leaders, and then something happens that we don't know. And then if a certain color smoke comes out, that means they have not made a decision. And then at a certain point, after more discussion and sex, they bring in young children who are molested. And then after the molesting has taken place, they vote. And then this is all thought to be, it's all speculative at best, but after the rapes and more votes, and then they eat and then rape, it's a whole week, it's a rape fest, okay, until the entire orphanage cupboard is empty. They go to all of the orphanages around the Vatican and swoop up all of the children. And then when the children are all dead from dick, they burn the bodies. And then if the smoke comes out white, then boom, they have a new pope. And then people go, well, which one is it? And they go, you, Larry, get out there. You're the pope. So then he comes out. And he goes like, hey, what's up? Yeah, let's go gays. Let's go gays. And he waves a fucking rainbow flag. And he's like, yeah, we're going to love the gays. Fucking shit. Let's get. Then they go back in. If there's anyone still alive, any of the orphans, they're also raped. And then that's it. This guy's the Pope forever. He gets tons of sex, tons of money. And that is how it works. I didn't create the rules. All I'm doing is reporting the news. Big Fraud News Network. That's how it works. It's unbelievable. It's a horrible thing. And people love it. Chris says the Cardinals all lock themselves in a big church, have an orgy until white smoke comes out. Exactly. Alan says it's about 21 days of anal rape before they decide. Piano Finger Banger adds, no, Chris. They all take hits from a giant bong that's shaped like a Boy Scout's cock, and whatever color comes out determines the new pope. Wow. Now, you might have information that I'm not aware of. I had not heard about the giant bong shaped like a Boy Scout's cock. I don't know how a Boy Scout's cock would be shaped any different than anyone else's cock. But perhaps the Boy Scouts have different shaped cocks. Who knows? Jeremy says the white smoke comes from the burning of the jizz they collected in the orgy. Wow. And I did not know that jizz was flammable. There's a lot of speculation here. We will be following with bated breath as to who will be the new pope. They call it conclave. Now, that is derived from the Latin term cumclave, originally known as the cumclave, which is kind of adds to what Jeremy was saying there. It is cumclave means collection of jizz in Latin. You will take that pool of jizz. By the time the raping is done, they will have several gallons of jizz. The bodies are burned. The flammable jizz is lit aflame. And if the smoke is white, you have a new pope. All incredible news. Wow. Thank you for helping me out with the all the loose ends about the cumclave. Murder Lover Linda says, excellent movie, but I missed the part described above. Yeah. By the way, I got tipped off. Murder Lover Linda suggested that I watch a documentary, and I did watch it. It is the 30-year anniversary on April 19th of the Oklahoma City bombing. 90-minute special on Netflix, short watch. It's gruesome and graphic. You don't really see bodies or anything like that. You see some injuries. Eyewitness accounts, loved ones of victims, how they apprehended Timothy McVeigh through all of this. I don't want to say, hey, there's one thing I forgot about, because I want you to find it out for yourself. But I'll say this. On April 19th, 1995, the date that this happened, I remember a lot of what happened on that day, because that was the 8th day since my son was born. And he was still in the neonatal intensive care unit in Saginaw, Michigan. I lived in Midland. I would have to make the drive every day to see my son, Diana and I. And he was recovering, and we knew he was going to make it, but he was still not ready to go home. That wouldn't be for a few more days. He actually went home on Easter Sunday of that same year. But on April 19th, the day that it happened, the explosion happened at 9:02. I think that was Central Time. So what time would that make it here? I think that would be like 10 o'clock. I'm not even sure. Maybe it was 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Doesn't matter. All I know is I was getting ready to go to the hospital with Pooh Bear, and the TV's on, and I saw the facade of the building, and this is moments after that explosion. Like, oh my God, this building is disintegrated. Holy fucking shit, what happened here? And then as the day wore on, it became clear that this was a bombing. And by the end of the day, they had an idea as to, who did this or how it, and the FBI was piecing together things. And one of the things they pieced together was a farmhouse in this community called Decker, Michigan, which is in the thumb. It's in the thumb of Michigan. If you picture Michigan, it's like, looks like a thumb. So it's like here, and where I am is like right here at the hospital. And they figured out that somehow this house, it's the home of a guy by the name of James Nichols. And James Nichols is the brother of Terry Nichols, the other co-conspirator in the Oklahoma City bombing. So they are running out every ground ball. And I will never forget this because I was driving on I-75 home from the hospital after spending the day with Jim, and it's Pooh Bear and I. And the FBI helicopters are flying over I-75 to the thumb. And they landed right on the fucker's property. No one was home at the time. And they rushed into the house. And you actually see the raid on James Nichols' house in this documentary. Where just moments before, I'm on I-75 looking up like fucking Ray Liotta and Goodfellas. You can jump into the fire. Looking up at the choppers going over I-75. And I remember not knowing what that was. I didn't know where they were going. All I saw was all these choppers going over because it isn't like they said, hey, we're going to Decker to get the bad guy. They didn't announce that. But later on, then when the story was revealed that they raided this home, I was like, holy shit, I saw that. And that was 30 years ago. So for them to mention the raiding of the Decker farmhouse, it turns out that Terry Nichols, James Nichols, and McVeigh were all in the house. Now, this James Nichols fucker, he was not implicated. For a while, they thought he had something to do with it, but he was exonerated. And I don't know how he managed to do that, but I will say this. He was a fucking whack job. He was like the type of guy who, you know, was encouraging people to form a militia. Again, this is 2 years after Waco. You had Ruby Ridge and Waco, and all these far right-wing assholes were like, oh, they're coming to get our guns, which is part of what brought McVeigh to doing what he wanted to do, which happened to be on the 2-year anniversary of Waco. And so it all ties in. McVeigh was actually at Waco 2 years prior. Like, he was there on his car watching it as that siege was going on, getting pissed off. So, you know, the Oklahoma City bombing was retaliation for that. They go into all this shit in this documentary. It's outstanding. Thank you, Linda, for encouraging me to watch it. When Joe and I were doing the show in Saginaw, we got the number for James Nichols. And we used to get trial updates from this crazy fucker. And we would call up and he'd pick up the fucking phone. James Nichols, the brother of the guy who blew up. And we'd sit there and we'd get him all fucking pissed off and challenge him on every fucking thing. And then he'd hang it up. He'd be so pissed. We'd call him back and we're playing cuckoo sound effects down the phone line and just fucking with the guy. And then we're like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't fuck with this guy. Chris says, isn't it also Hitler's birthday? No. Hitler's birthday is April 20. I'm pretty sure. Hey, Siri.
Mm-hmm.
When is Hitler's birthday?
Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889 in Braunau am in Austria. This answer is from Britannica.
Hitler shares my birthday, Molly says. Happy birthday belated to you. Yeah, Jackie was born on the anniversary of Oklahoma City, 2 years after it happened. Excuse me. There's a beautiful park there, by the way. They have a fantastic memorial to that horrible, horrible moment. Mike, by the way, speaking of memorials, Mike Ball went to the Shanksville Memorial of Flight 93 recently. He said it's outstanding. You need to check it out if you're into that type of thing. I am. 9/11, I was all about it. 9/11 Memorial. So I would love to see both of those. Feeling pretty good, I can't stress enough how fucked up that was last week. But my stamina is strong today. I think I have. I think taking those days off was just what the doctor ordered. My God, was that bad? Let's see. By the way, I'm happy because Pinball Land did sign on as a new sponsor. You'll hear more about them coming up in the weeks to follow. But we are going to have an event at Pinball Land. First off, a word from Jennison Pool and Spa Depot. They are back. I've been fucking selling sponsorships like crazy. If it looks like I'm reading this, I am. First off, there are a lot of fly-by-night pool companies. All right? Whether you have an in-ground pool or an above-ground pool, you should always get your pool supplies from an actual brick-and-mortar place. Jennison Pool and Spa Depot is that place. They're on Chicago Drive, right by 12th Avenue. Blue storefront. They're on the south side of Chicago Drive in Jennison. So I want you to get all your pool supplies from there. They test your water for free after you open up the pool. If you have an in-ground pool, they do maintenance and repairs on all types of in-ground pools. The pools themselves, the filters, the heaters, whatever it is, they do all types of maintenance. If you want an in-ground pool, you can get one at a lower cost than the competition at Jennison Pool and Spa Depot. Now, when it comes to, installing an in-ground pool, it's a big ticket item, whether you go a less expensive one or a more expensive one. If you go less expensive, you will get the best deal at Jennison Pool and Spa Depot. If you go and hire a fly-by-night company that does not have a storefront, you run the risk of, we'll take your deposit, and then they're gone. Or they don't guarantee their work. Or their work is not insured. Okay? So whether you're going a lower-cost in-ground pool or you want to go Big Fraud Zane level, kidney-shaped stainless steel walls, they can do it all. Concrete pool, stainless steel walls. That's the Big Fraud style. If you say, give me the Big Fraud, you're going to get the most expensive pool they have. They know what it is. Just say, give me the Big Fraud. I'm cash heavy. I want Big Fraud's pool. Kidney shape, stainless steel walls, concrete bottom, the fucking best. Or if you want a poverty pool that will keep you cool in the summer and it will look great, but it won't look anywhere near as good as mine, you can get that too. It's called the Shithead. You can get that with Jennison Pool and Spa Depots. Jennison Pool and Spa Depot. They do installations of fiberglass, which is one of those, it just drops into the hole. Those are awesome, by the way. In fact, that's better to get. They won't even give you an EZ pool. They will not give you a Big Fraud concrete pool because those are obsolete now. They're just going to put a fiberglass pool in. It's the most durable thing that there is. Or if you want to go poverty and have the vinyl liner, they can do that too. As I said, an actual brick and mortar store as opposed to the fly-by-night pool scam junkies. Avoid those losers. If you ever call somebody else, hey, where are you located? We don't have a location. It's just us out of our truck. Fuck that chuck in a truck shit. Some of these vinyl pool liners, they get fucked up. So if you already have a pool and it gets damaged, the Jennison Pool and Spa Depot, owned by Jeremy Out the Door, can repair it for you. Why is he known as Jeremy Out the Door? Because when you say, how much is it going to cost to repair my pool liner? he's going to give you a dollar figure and say out the door after he gives you that number. Thus, he is Jeremy out the door. If you want to reach them, you can call them at 616-457-0500. They will open up your pool for you. I have them coming May 15th to open up the big fraud pool. 616-457-0500. By the way, I'm going to do these sponsors, and then I'm going to wrap up the show with the asshole of the day because I am starting to feel some trouble in my throat, but I've gone pretty long, and a full 2 hours or damn near 2 hours is all I'm going to give today. Man Bun Chris says, so you're saying they go as low as the Zaniac Marsh model and as high as the Big Fraud Kidney Bean Pool? Exactly. Nick says, I'm in a hard living line area. We only have the above ground that fills up like a bag. Yep. Don't call Jennison Pool and Spa Depot for that shit. He might work on the filter, but take your stupid eyesore rust bucket shit bag poverty pool and stick it up your loose asshole. Thank you to Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. Quality car care. All right. What I love most about Irvine's is, okay, we've looked over your car. I see that you want a wheel alignment. No big deal. Did you know that your transmission fluid is ruined? Did you know that your antifreeze is shit? I almost said anacrease. They take care of everything for you. So if you're the type of person that does not have the time, does not have the energy, does not have the know-how to do any of these things, isn't it nice to know that you have a team that does it for you? That's who this is aimed at, okay? 616-532-6600. So any of you women that don't know anything, you can call on Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV, and they won't screw you. They'll just get the job done that a dude could be doing for you. I'm totally kidding. But seriously, they will do it all. Irvine's, you can find them online at ervines.com. That's ervines.com. Frank Fuss is the expert on healthcare. If you are between jobs, maybe your boss does not offer insurance, or you're an owner of your own company, you need healthcare. Frank's going to help you with that. Get started by going to buyinsurancehere.com. That's buyinsurancehere.com. By the way, I want you to start thinking about assholes of the day. If you have any nominations, you can leave them in the chat. Nick says, anti-F-word baseball boomer. I think I know what you're talking about. In the first act. What an asshole. David's nominating the Pope. I don't know if I can nominate the Pope. I mean, the guy's dead. J.D. Vance for killing the Pope. Maybe. Definitely not going to make the Pope the asshole of the day. You got to understand the Pope is part of a bigger systemic problem. Thank you to King's Room Barbershop. Online at kingsroom.net. Get a haircut at King's Room. 3 locations, Northland Drive, Caledonia, and at 821 36th Street. Online at kingsroom.net. That's where I get my haircut, and you should too. All dudes and chicks who like short hair should get their haircut at King's Room Barbershop. The tree service of choice is Kuiper Tree Care. Online at Kuiper, Kuiper, KuiperTreeCare.com. In West Michigan. If you're in West Michigan and you need a tree to be removed, you got some storm damage, you need to stump ground, you need to assess the risk of that tree falling on your house, you need to call Kuiper Tree Care, 616-828-8225. They do all these great things. And if you wanted to have some tree pruning, I had that done too with the silver maple I have out front. Looks great. They're the best. 3 certified arborists to help you every step of the way. You can find them again at kuipertreecare.com or call their office 616-828-8225. You can also text. It's been so long since I did a show, I don't even know who my last one was. I wrote down the segment 18 crew, but I don't even remember what about. Today's asshole of the day is brought to you by TC Paintball. And yeah, it's got to be the Little League asshole dad has got to be the asshole of the day. That boorish behavior because my son heard a bad word on the music. Fuck you, you fuck. My God, people are such assholes. Bob nominates everybody that backed out of helping at Fear Bunker North. Yeah, if I cut off my foot and die, it's their problem. That's going to do it. I would say with a vengeance. That's how you recover on your first show back from being sick. Like the boss bitch that I am. Thank you for being here. I owe my support to you. Thank you for the support, I should say. And I'll talk to you on the Patreon. Till then, have a good one, folks. Bye-bye.